Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to make some beautiful hand-stamped coasters, which is perfect because you get to use your gorgeous stamps from our sponsor, Rubber Stamp Tapestry. You can find the stamps I'm using at pegstamps.com, and there's a coupon code COASTER that will save you 20% on your order of $10 or more of mounted stamps. So the first thing we're going to do is squirt little dollops of paint onto a piece of styrofoam packing material. I save this whenever it comes in the mail because it is just perfect for making acrylic paint stamp pads. Now the acrylic paint I'm using is actually an enamel. It's meant to bake in the oven, so it provides a really glossy, durable, dishwasher safe finish. So you just want to put a little dollop of that on your styrofoam, and then you're going to use a palette knife to kind of smooth it down. So basically you want to have just a very, very thin layer of paint on your styrofoam. Now if you don't have any styrofoam, you can actually use a foam brush like from the hardware store and kind of use that to tap that on your stamps. But I like this better because it's a little bit quicker, and it's great if you're making more than one coaster because you just ink it up like you would a stamp pad. I'm using 4-inch square tiles from the hardware store as my coasters. They're only about 14 cents a piece, and they're a lot of fun to work with. I've also wiped down these coasters with rubbing alcohol before beginning to make sure there was no dirt or fingerprints. To load up my stamps, I'm tapping them in the light green and then kind of rocking an edge in the darker green. That gives me a little bit of shadow. Then you want to make sure you stamp straight down onto the tile without rocking it. Stamping on tiles is a little slippery, especially compared to stamping on paper, so you just want to be aware of that. And remember, if you make any mistakes, you can take a paper towel soaked in alcohol and just wipe it away and try again. It's very easy, and there's no need to be afraid of anything during this process. But you know what? I really wouldn't worry about a partially stamped image like that leaf I did over there on the right hand side, because you can always stamp a grape on top of it or somehow work it into your design. I'm using the same technique with the grapes. I'm using some winey red and some midnight blue and also a little bit of purple to get some different shades for my grapes. Now the stamps that these work the best for are kind of bolder designs and the larger of your peg stamp designs. You don't want anything too tiny or too detailed, or the paint will get in between the rubber and just kind of collect in there and goosh out sometimes. So you want kind of your simpler, bolder designs to work best with these acrylic paint stamping techniques. Keep a wet rag handy while you're stamping because you're going to want to be able to wipe off those stamps as soon as you're done with a color, because if the acrylic paint dries in the rubber, it's going to mess up your stamp. I like to keep a wet towel handy, wipe off as much as I can, and then I'll go ahead and wash it with a soapy toothbrush afterwards, and I just kind of scrub the rubber and make sure there are no bits of paint left in the crevices between the design on my stamp. Now I'm stamping the little curly-Q vine that came in the kit here and there around my grapes. Now if you wanted to, you could take a liner brush and load it up with some of the brown paint and just freehand some vines and some curly-Qs. It's completely up to you. I think this little springy one is pretty cute though that came in the set. And lastly, I want to accent with this little kind of sprig of berries. They could be baby grapes or they could just be some accent berries. I'm not sure. I'm doing them in green so they kind of look like unripe grapes or a fresh vine, just so it goes with the whole theme. Now this is really quick to make, so it wouldn't take you any time to whip up a batch of 4 of these for a quick present. When you're done stamping, you're going to want to let these dry for a full day. Then you want to bake them in your oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. If you don't want to bake them in your oven, then you'll need to let them air dry for 3 weeks for them to be fully cured. After that, you'll want to put some foam pads or cork on the back of the coaster so that it won't scratch a table when it's used. Now let's make another coaster using another one of our favorite stamp sets. I'm using the large branch from the Dogwood Garden set, and I like this branch because it's kind of full and it fills up a lot of space. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use the leaves from the Brambly Rose set. This has got to be my favorite rubber stamp tapestry set. I just love the elegant roses, and these vines really fill in well, and the roses are nice and bold, so it's very easy to stamp with this technique. Make sure you turn your stamp as you go so the flowers are facing different directions and they look a little more random and natural. Now go in and fill in with a smaller rose. Now isn't this just turning out so special? It would be a beautiful Mother's Day or a wedding gift, and it really only takes a couple minutes to make. I think this coaster took like 2.5 minutes. It's seriously that quick. Now, if you're careful, you can use more detailed stamps like these seashells that I'm using here, because I know a lot of people are doing the nautical theme in their homes these days. It's very popular. I will tell you that it is a little more difficult to do the more detailed stamps, as you can see here, between the details in veining on some of the shells. I'm getting some ink blobs, but still I think it's a pretty look, and I encourage you to practice with whatever stamps you have and see how it works for you. Remember, if you make a mistake, you can easily wipe it off with a paper towel soaked in rubbing alcohol. It's very easy to fix and try again. So practice makes perfect, right? That's what we're always saying. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you give it a try for yourself. Like I said, you can go to any home improvement store and pick up these tiles for about 14 to 25 cents a piece, and you're off to the races. And you can even find the felt pads at the dollar store. And if you want to find the stamps that I'm using, make sure you check out our sponsor, Rubber Stamp Tapestry. You can find them online at pegstamps.com. Use a coupon code COASTER to save 20% on your order of mounted stamps of $10 or more. It's a great deal, and you can try out this technique for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Until next time, happy crafting.